Alright, brave wilderness crew, get ready for this one. What if I told you there's an animal out there, a true titan of the wild that practically never sleeps? I'm serious. We're talking about a creature that can go months, yes months, with barely a moment of rest. It laughs in the face of bedtime. It scoffs at the idea of a good night's sleep. This isn't some tiny insect or a simple organism. We're talking about a massive, warm-blooded mammal that pushes the limits of what we thought was biologically possible. It lives a life so extreme, so unbelievably demanding, that shutting down for even a few hours could mean the difference between life and death. It has mastered the art of staying awake in one of the planet's most unforgiving environments. This is one of nature's greatest unsolved mysteries, and we are diving in headfirst to figure it out. How does it survive? What incredible adaptations allow it to defy the fundamental need for sleep that governs almost every other animal on Earth, including us? Forget your 8 hours a night. This animal makes do with minutes. It's a ghost, a phantom of the wilderness. Before we get to our mystery animal, let's talk about just how weird sleep can be in the animal kingdom. It's not all about curling up in a bed for 8 hours. Take dolphins, for example. These guys are incredible. To avoid drowning while they rest, they sleep with only half of their brain at a time. One half stays awake and alert, keeping an eye out for predators and surfacing for air, while the other half gets its much-needed shut-eye. They can literally swim while they sleep. This is called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. Then you have animals like the giraffe. With that long, towering neck, finding a comfy position seems impossible. Giraffes have one of the shortest sleep requirements, sometimes just 30 minutes a day, often in quick 5-minute naps while standing up. Lying down makes them vulnerable to predators like lions, so they've evolved to need very little sleep. When they do sleep deeply, they fold their legs and curl their necks back to rest, awkward and risky. And it gets even stranger. Think about the alpine swift. These aviators spend almost their entire lives in the air. So when do they sleep? Scientists believe they can sleep while flying. They catch updrafts, rise high, then doze for short periods while gliding down. It's like autopilot. Alright, it's time to start dropping some clues about our sleepless wonder. The first major hint lies in its environment. This animal is not a land dweller. You won't find it in a jungle, a forest, or a savanna. Its home is the vast, cold, and crushing darkness of the deep ocean. This is a place of immense pressure and relentless cold. It's a three-dimensional world with no ground to rest on. Danger can come from above, below, or any side. It is a master of this aquatic realm. A creature built for constant movement through the water column, a true mariner, a nomad that travels thousands of miles every year. Our second clue is its lifestyle, one of the most epic migrations on the planet. For months at a time it travels far from shore, diving into the ocean's twilight zone to hunt. I mean deep. A champion diver, plunging to depths that would crush most other marine animals. It spends its life in massive, non-stop feeding frenzies, preparing for life back on land. This dual lifestyle is key. 2 phases, one almost entirely at sea, another on crowded, noisy beaches. Clue 3, its body shape. Not a small fish, a true giant built like a torpedo, covered in a thick layer of blubber. Powerful flippers propel it with grace and speed, despite enormous size. Its most defining feature, its face. Males have a very prominent, almost comical facial feature used for display and to make incredibly loud noises. Think big, think blubbery, think loud, put it all together, a massive marine mammal, lives in the cold, deep ocean and undertakes marathon migrations to hunt, a phenomenal diver that withstands crushing pressures. A distinct large facial feature and a life split between open ocean and crowded shores. Its ability to go without sleep is linked to marathon hunting trips, up to 8 months. During this period it pushes to the absolute limit, staying awake to hunt relentlessly. The mystery is starting to unravel. Are you getting closer? Now let's compare our mystery animal's sleep schedule to something we all understand, our own. The average human needs about 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night. When we don't get it, we feel terrible, we're groggy, our thinking gets fuzzy. Our bodies just don't function properly. A few sleepless nights in a row can have serious health consequences. Even the most sleep-deprived animals we know, like giraffes or horses, still manage to get a couple of hours of rest sprinkled throughout the day. They need that time to let their brains and bodies recover, even if it's just for a few minutes at a time. They are masters of the power nap, but they still nap. Our mystery animal, however, redefines what a power nap even is. During its long months at sea, scientists have discovered that it averages only about 2 hours of sleep per day. That's less than a quarter of what a human needs. And it doesn't even take that sleep all at once. It gets its rest in a series of incredibly short, deep dives. It will dive down, sometimes over 1,000 feet deep, and as it slowly drifts back toward the surface, it enters a state of sleep for just 5 to 10 minutes at a time. It essentially becomes a giant sleeping torpedo, drifting in the darkness of the deep sea for a few precious moments of rest before waking up and continuing its hunt. This is fundamentally different from how land animals sleep. Think about a lion. A lion can sleep for up to 20 hours a day because it can afford to. It's an apex predator with few threats, and it can find a safe spot to rest after a big meal. The science behind the mystery is honestly pretty amazing. So, how in the world did scientists figure this out? You can't exactly follow a giant marine mammal around the deep ocean for 8 months with a notepad. The answer is some seriously cool science and technology. Researchers developed special waterproof sensors that could be temporarily attached to these animals. These weren't just simple GPS trackers, like fitting the animal with a high-tech flight recorder, or like a smartwatch. The tags were equipped with accelerometers to track movement, depth sensors, and most importantly, EEG sensors to measure brainwave activity. That let scientists know where the animal was, and whether it was awake or asleep. The process of attaching these tags is a mission in itself. The researchers had to wait for the animals to come ashore for their breeding season. Then, in a carefully coordinated effort, a team would quickly and safely sedate one of these massive creatures, attach a sensor cap to its head, attach a logger to its back using animal-safe epoxy. The sensors are designed to fall off after a few months, once the animal returns to sea and begins to molt. The data is stored on the device. Scientists hope the tag washes ashore and is recovered, or that it transmits its data via satellite. The data that came back was absolutely mind-blowing. EEG readings showed brainwaves shifting from an active, awake state to the slow waves of deep sleep and then into REM sleep, all while the animal was hundreds of feet below the ocean surface. Accelerometers showed that during these sleep periods the animal would stop swimming, begin to drift, sometimes spiraling slowly downwards like a falling leaf. This confirmed the animal was completely unconscious, entering REM-like paralysis just like humans. For a few minutes it was totally vulnerable, drifting in the dark. This groundbreaking research, published in the journal Science, was the first time any mammal had been recorded sleeping in the wild in the deep ocean. It painted a vivid picture of these 10-minute sleep spirals. The animal would dive, fall asleep, drift, then, just before it reached a depth where it might be crushed by the pressure or after a short REM cycle, it would instinctively wake up and swim back toward the surface. This incredible study solved a long-standing mystery. For years, no one had ever seen these animals sleeping. Now we know why. They were doing it hundreds of feet below the waves, hidden from the world. Going with so little sleep has to come at a cost, right? In the wild, every adaptation involves a trade-off. For our mystery animal, the price of its sleepless hunting marathon is extreme vulnerability during the few moments it does rest. When it enters that deep REM sleep spiral hundreds of feet down, it's completely knocked out. Its brain is offline and its body is paralyzed. During these brief naps, it is utterly defenseless. If a predator like a deep-diving orca or a great white shark were to find it in this state, it would be an easy meal. The animal is literally gambling its life for a 10-minute nap. This is why the location of its naps is so important. By sleeping deep in the ocean's twilight zone, it's hiding from predators that typically hunt near the surface. Great white sharks are visual hunters and prefer the bright upper layers. By diving deep into darkness to sleep, our creature is playing the odds, safer in the crushing deep than near the surface. But the data showed the brain would jolt it awake before it drifted into the even deeper midnight zone, a place where the pressure would be lethal. Its sleep is a constant high-wire act. Another major challenge is the sheer energy expenditure. Staying awake and hunting for months on end requires an incredible amount of calories. This animal is on a mission to get as fat as possible, as fast as possible. The entire purpose of this sleepless migration is to build up enormous reserves of blubber. That blubber isn't just for warmth, it's the fuel tank for the next phase back on land where it'll fast for months. So, the lack of sleep is directly tied to the urgent need to maximize its hunting time. Every minute spent sleeping is a minute not spent eating. This creates a fascinating biological paradox. Sleep is supposed to be for recovery and energy conservation. But this animal has traded long periods of restorative sleep for relentless energy acquisition. It pushes its body to the brink to pack on weight. Also, it can later survive a long fast. The brief, risky naps are the bare minimum to keep brain and body from completely shutting down. It's a life on the edge. The reward for staying awake is survival, but the penalty for sleeping in the wrong place is death. So what's the secret? How does this animal pull off a feat that seems to defy the laws of biology? The primary secret, as we've discussed, is its unique napping strategy. The sleep spiral is a masterclass in efficiency, providing just enough rest to keep the brain functioning while minimizing risk. By packing sleep into these short, deep water bursts, it avoids surface predators and spends over 90% of its time at sea actively hunting. This incredible adaptation is the cornerstone of its survival. It's not that it doesn't need sleep, it's that it has perfected the art of getting the most out of every single second of rest. But there might be more to it than just clever napping. Some scientists theorize that this animal may have unique neurological and physiological adaptations that make it highly resistant to the negative effects of sleep deprivation. Its brain chemistry could be different, perhaps with systems in place to quickly clear out the metabolic waste products that build up in the brain during wakefulness, the very stuff that makes humans feel tired and confused. It might have a super-efficient glymphatic system, the brain's cleaning crew, that can do its job in minutes instead of hours. Super-efficient brain cleaning? This would be a true biological superpower. Another wild theory involves its dual lifestyle, high-energy, sleepless hunting phase at sea, and a much more sedentary, though still stressful phase on land for breeding. During the breeding season on land, these animals do sleep more, though it's often interrupted by noisy neighbors and fights for dominance. It's possible that this land-based period allows for some form of deeper, long-term recovery that helps offset the extreme sleep debt accumulated over months at sea. It's a cycle of feast and famine, both for food and for sleep. Ultimately, the biggest secret is evolution. This animal has been shaped over millions of years by the intense pressures of its environment. The individuals that could survive on less sleep were the ones that could eat more. The ones that could eat more got fatter. And the ones that got fatter were more successful at surviving the long fasts on the breeding grounds and passing on their genes. This relentless cycle of natural selection has forged a creature that is exquisitely adapted to its extreme lifestyle. It doesn't just survive on little sleep, it has turned sleep deprivation into its greatest weapon for survival. Now let's just take a minute and imagine this. What if you, a human, had to live like our mystery animal? Can you picture it? You'd have to go about your day, going to work, going to school, whatever it is you do, for months on end with only 2 hours of sleep per day. And you couldn't even get that all at once. You'd have to take 10-minute naps, maybe 12 times throughout the day. You'd be in the middle of a meeting and suddenly, you'd have to announce, "Excuse me everyone, it's time for my 10-minute sleep spiral." It sounds completely absurd, but that's the reality for this creature. The effects on us would be catastrophic. After just a few days, we'd experience severe cognitive impairment. We'd have trouble concentrating, our memory would fail, and we'd become emotionally unstable. After a week, we'd likely start to experience hallucinations. Our immune systems would weaken, making us susceptible to illness. Our bodies are simply not built for it. The human brain requires long, consolidated periods of deep sleep, REM sleep, to repair itself, consolidate memories, and regulate emotions. Our entire physiology is built around a monophasic sleep cycle, one long rest per day. Think about the societal implications. How would our world function? Could surgeons perform operations on 10-minute naps? Could pilots fly planes? Our entire 9-to-5 structure, our schools, our industries, everything would have to be redesigned around a population of perpetually exhausted people trying to squeeze in a nap whenever they could. We'd likely be less creative, less productive, and a whole lot grumpier. We rely on a good night's sleep to be the complex, thinking, and social beings that we are. Taking that away would unravel the very fabric of our civilization. This thought experiment really highlights just how specialized and incredible our mystery animal is. It's not just that it can survive on little sleep. Its entire biology, from its brain chemistry to its metabolism, has been fine-tuned for this exact purpose. While for us, sleep deprivation is a form of torture, for this animal, it's the key to a successful life. It serves as a powerful reminder that our human experience is just one of millions of different ways to live on this planet. It makes you appreciate your own bed and the simple, uninterrupted luxury of a full night's sleep, doesn't it? Alright crew, the moment you've all been waiting for. We've followed the clues into the deep, dark ocean. We've talked about its massive size, its incredible diving ability, its epic migrations, that very prominent facial feature, the sleepless wonder of the animal kingdom. The master of the 10-minute power nap, the creature that goes months on only 2 hours of sleep a day is The northern elephant seal. That's right, this absolute unit of a marine mammal has rewritten the rules on sleep. The males are famous for their huge inflatable snouts, proboscis, that resemble an elephant's trunk. They use it to produce deafening roars during mating season. These titans are the definition of extreme. The females embark on an 8-month-long foraging trip across the Pacific, diving continuously for food and sleeping in those short, spiraling bursts deep below the surface. They do this to fatten up before returning to land to give birth and nurse their pups, a period where they will fast for over a month. The males have an even longer foraging trip, sometimes lasting 10 months, because they need to be even bigger and stronger to compete for mates. During the breeding season, dominant males will go up to 100 days without eating or leaving the beach, surviving entirely on the blubber they gained during their sleepless journey. The elephant seal is a true survivor, a monument to the power of evolution. Its ability to thrive on such a minuscule amount of sleep is one of the most extraordinary adaptations ever documented in a mammal. It's a perfect example of how an animal's lifestyle, environment, and physiology are all intricately woven together. The need to avoid sharks and maximize foraging time in the deep ocean has sculpted this bizarre and brilliant sleep strategy. They are living proof that nature is far more creative and resilient than we could ever imagine. So next time you see a big, blubbery seal lounging on a beach, remember the incredible journey it endured to get there. What an absolutely incredible animal. The northern elephant seal truly is in a league of its own. What do you guys think? Could you survive on just 10-minute naps? Let me know down in the comments. And if you thought this story was as mind-blowing as I did, make sure to hit that like button, and definitely subscribe to the Brave Wilderness channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an adventure. Share this with anyone who loves a good animal mystery. As always, be brave, stay wild, and we'll see you on the next location.